Philosophers like Colin McKean have suggested that we will not be able to explain hard problem of consciousness in a similar way, just as monkeys will not be able to understand quantum mechanics. Would you agree with this Mysterianism position that hard problem of consciousness is insoluble in principle or in the foreseeable future?
Well, I think we have to be careful about how the hard problem is. There are basically two ways in which it's formulated. One way which was partly uses Thomas Nagel's famous question, what is it like to be a bat? A flower, things like that. Now, it's been argued that the easy problem, as everyone knows, is a very hard one. But the easy problem is to find the neural basis for conscious experience. What's going on in the brain when you have conscious experience? That's called the easy problem. We have almost nothing to say about it. You know how to pursue it. But the argument is, even if you solve that problem, well, there's a reason for that. It's because the question, what is it like to see a sunset, is not a legitimate. You can ask, what is it like to see the sunset you're now looking at? That's a question. And describe it in extensive detail. If you have literary ability, you can write a poem about it. You can describe it. You can't say a word about what it's like to see a sunset. There's just no answer to that. If there's no answer, there's no point raising the question. So that's a non-question. The other way of looking at it comes from David Chalmers, who used the phrase hard problem first, is suppose we solve the easy problem. We found the neural basis for consciousness. The question of what's called zombies in the philosophy of mind. How can you show that won't yield a different experience than some other creature? Maybe where you see red, they'll see. Well, another unanswerable question. Can't answer that question. There's a more reasonable version of that question, which you can answer. Goes back to Bertrand Russell. Russell pointed out about a century ago that what we are most confident of our own immediate awareness. Like what I'm most conscious of is when I look at you, I'm seeing a person, okay? What's hitting my retina is a sequence of capacities are constructing an image of a person, so it's not trivial. But that's what I'm. And Russell pointed out the rest of our efforts are in inquiry are trying to discover the nature of what I'm the basis for what I'm immediately aware of. So I am immediately aware of seeing a person. Then you study the nature of vision. You find out, as I said, there's scattered eye movements that are light that are hitting my stimuli. Then various things are happening in the striate cortex. Cells are specifically designed to seek straight lines, angles, and so on. Then higher level constructions take place in the brain. Then we have a picture of Descartes knew all of this. He didn't know the details, but he described the outlines. And that's, if we take that approach to the hard problem, we can solve the problem of how whatever's going on in the brain that yields awareness, yield particular kinds of awareness. It's going to yield seeing red, not seeing blue, because that's the way it's designed. There are no other questions. So that problem can be answered in principle. Whether we can answer it is another question, because there's no guarantee. Human intelligence is universal. We're not angels. We're organic creatures, which means we have a limit to our capacities. There are things we may simply not be able to understand. And there are actually historical examples of this, which I've written about, could go through. But I think all of this is within the range of reasonable inquiry and potential explanation, if the questions are formulated correctly. If we formulate questions which can't be answered, of course they won't be answered.